Okay, this one.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Uh, hey.
Hey.
Welcome to episode 5 of A Refined Voyage with Kaila and Michelle. This
Hey.
episode is our first episode remotely.
Yep.
We are remote.
You're in Dublin.
I'm
It says it behind you. I can't really see it, but I know that it says that. I'm in Dublin. That's perfect.
in Dublin.
How's it been being back?
So for our listeners, and again for our listeners, I was living here prior to COVID, and I then moved back to Toronto to be with my family. And as COVID got more manageable, I made the decision to come back to my Dublin home to ride the wave until the wheels fall off. And how do I feel being back? I have just, I'm not going to say wasted, but I have just experienced 1 month in this year quarantine. So I quarantined when I arrived in Toronto, and then I for 2 weeks again in Dublin, doing my due diligence as I like to do. So that was really interesting. I was freed from my COVID. Fortunately, I should say that I have been healthy. I'm very lucky. So I wasn't ill after taking the flight, and I'm still very healthy, so I'm very lucky.
Awesome.
But I was freed from COVID jail, I guess.
I'm free now.
Yeah, I'm free. Last Thursday, so it still doesn't kind of feel like I'm back in a way. Yes, it's a little weird. It's a little weird. I was homesick already, which is crazy.
Were you really?
Yeah, I'm like, man, I just left y'all.
It's true. But it flew by really quickly, so it makes sense.
So yeah. I'm here, and you're there. But you weren't always home. You went on a little trip, didn't you?
Oh my gosh, yes, I forgot. Yeah. So yeah, I was surprised. My boyfriend Brendan surprised me with his trip out to Calgary. So then we went to the mountains, and one of my friends lives out in Calgary. His name's Mark James, and he's a helicopter pilot. And I met him here in Toronto back in the day when I used to work at the movie theater when I was like 16. So we've known each other for a while.
Talk about the progression of your jobs when you were young. You worked at the movie theater, then you worked at
Blockbuster. Anyway, that's how you know I'm ancient. Like, no kids nowadays will ever be like, I worked at Blockbuster, but I'll be like, I did. You know?
I have a Blockbuster sticker on my laptop. But anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's okay.
Your friend Mark James, he surprised you.
Yeah. And Brendan, they both like surprised me, and I flew a helicopter, and I was like, oh my god, and it was amazing. Went to the Rockies. I felt like a princess. It was wonderful. And then I came back, and I was depressed again.
Oh, that's a way to aid wanderlust. Fly a helicopter.
Yeah. Fly a helicopter. Yeah.
I didn't do this in the intro because we're 5 episodes in, but just to remind everyone, we're two black women from Canada, originally Toronto, East End and West End for you, and we talk about travel. We've both effectively traveled quite a bit, and we like to talk about it and air grievances on how fun and difficult it can be being Black women traveling. Yeah. So just a recap for you guys who are just coming in on episode 5. I can't. That's
good.
5. That's crazy.
I know.
I can't believe I'm really like a knit. When we started, I was wearing like no knits.
Nothing.
Yeah. We filmed naked. No, we didn't.
We wanted to. Well, I did.
Oh my god, I miss you.
I miss you too. I do.
So something that's really interesting is so there are a couple of really interesting things that are happening right now. One really interesting thing is countries are losing a ton of money, economically struggling because the tourist industry is just
That.
right. So we have all of these countries,
Mm.
specifically in the Caribbean, I think mainly,
Yeah.
um, that are offering these visas,
Yep.
mainly American, but I think it's worldly.
Mm-hmm.
People who are working from home to work remotely in these countries. And now, as you called it, the exodus.
Yep.
That's
That's
happening.
exactly what's happening. Mm-hmm.
Not only that, people are that have been living in the city, uh,
Mm.
in the big city in the country that they're in. So, like for us, it would be Toronto. In the states, there are so many big cities, but mainly New York, San Francisco, Portland. Um,
Yep.
Even in Dublin here, I've heard in Amsterdam, in London,
Mm-hmm.
people who have been working within the gig economy, or even just like working in tourism, or just working a regular 9 to 5 job, like an office
Mm-hmm.
job, and their jobs have closed down, or they've been let go. They can't afford to live in the city anymore. So we have this huge exodus.
Absolutely.
You're part of that exodus.
I'm a part of the exodus, and I've lived in this city my whole life, and
Born.
now I'm bouncing. I'm bouncing. Like, and that's fine. Like, I almost saw this coming.
Yeah.
I did. I years ago when I came back to Toronto, I was like, what the heck happened to the city after living in China? And I was like, why is everything so expensive? Why is rent like rising? Like, why can't we afford to live here? This literally happened. It seems quick for me because I literally went the year that I went, things were normal, came back and things just went absolutely insane.
Right.
So I kind of saw this happening, and I don't know, there's a part of me that feels like, haha, told you so kind of thing. Like, I know people are losing their jobs, and I'm not saying ha ha ha, but I always said that something has to give.
Right.
And I don't think that the way we were living before was a fair way. And we needed this change in a big way. I think people really needed to see what really mattered in life, and how it was like almost how we were being ripped off in this life, because it felt like a lot of people were working to live.
Mm-hmm.
Working to live, right? Does that make sense? Not living to work. Yeah, working to live.
And
So yeah.
with the global shutdown in different cities is different, but I can speak to Dublin, I can speak to Toronto. There are a lot of restrictions, so a lot of the reasons why you would live in the city aren't really reasons anymore. You can't,
Fact.
right? So like if you're in the city to be closer to your job, maybe you're
Mm.
now, maybe you're going to be, we don't know how long this is going to last.
Mm-mm.
We don't know how long
Mm-mm.
you're going to be working remotely if you are working that traditional 9 to 5 job. I assume it will be, pretty long to get into
Right.
an office. Nobody's rushing to get into an office, and we can do these jobs remotely. Now we're learning that, right? So if you move to a city to be close to your job, that's no longer a thing. If you move
Yeah.
to enjoy the nightlife, that's no longer a thing. If you can't even eat inside here in the
Right.
inside. I think they tightened the restrictions as well in Toronto, so you can't eat inside in Toronto. Winter time's coming. No one's gonna sit out on a patio, no matter how heated it is.
Right.
Um, Restaurants are gonna have to inflate their prices. We saw that. That
Yep.
happened. Even if it's $1, $2, or €1, €2. So what's the point of living in the city anymore? Really,
Exactly.
you're paying a ridiculous amount to live in an apartment or even a house that
Yeah.
might not even be that nice.
Yep. Exactly.
Now we need to be comfortable because we're spending 24 hours a day at home.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's just, as you called it, that's your word, the exodus is happening in these,
Yeah.
and it's to the countryside, to
Mm-hmm.
more affordable places. It's
Mm-hmm.
to spend, a year abroad, and it might not
Yep.
be that year that you thought it was going to be, where you could, maybe island hop, but at least
Mm-hmm.
weather. Places like Toronto, places like
Mm-hmm.
Dublin,
Yeah.
places, East Coast Canada, even East Coast US. We don't have that nice weather.
No. No.
San Francisco's weather is up and down. It doesn't have that traditional California weather, super mountainous, so you get lots of winds and it can be chilly. So, what are you really living there for? You know, might as well pack your bag and go for a year. And
Exactly.
if you have that opportunity, so it's really
Yeah, for sure. That's why it kind of makes me excited, because I'm excited to see what people are going to do with their lives. I'm excited to see like what spaces they're going to move to, because it's like Toronto isn't everything, Dublin isn't everything, all these big cities aren't everything. And you mentioned the things that were good about the cities, but we sometimes let it keep ourselves in like this box, and then we stay there. But then there's other things outside that box, like our cities aren't everything. And
no.
I think the exciting part is what you mentioned, with like people even moving to maybe a warmer climate, somewhere with a little warmer climate, whether it's Jamaica, Belize, anywhere, these countries that are offering visas. And I think that's so exciting, because as a traveler and someone who's like lived abroad, I think you learn so much about yourself once you're out of your box. So I'm happy. Let the exodus keep moving.
But then you have, you know, it's all great, but then you have that kind of privilege line, because
Mm,
people who are able to pay the $2,000 or however much it is to get these visas to go live abroad, they have that privilege to do that. And then you have people who can't afford to move, who are kind of,
right.
you know, maybe can't afford their rent. Landlords, I can speak to this in Toronto specifically.
Mm-hmm,
Landlords, usually in big cities, Toronto specifically, can be awful,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
not understanding at all with the current financial, you know, situation. And the government, I know, it has tried to help. They scaled back a bit um, on the assistance that's available uh,
Yep.
in Dublin, in Toronto as well. So it's really, it's like you said, I'm excited to see what's going to happen, because I think
Yep.
that individually we're getting a little more freedom, but at the same time, you know, we're privileged in that sense. The
Absolutely. You're right.
pack up your apartment with your lovely boyfriend, your lovely dog, and you know, head to the country is great. But a lot
Right.
of people can't scrape up that first and last. A lot of people, you know, just can't. So what's going to happen in these big cities? Are they going to adjust to the change? Are they going to make it more affordable and accessible? Are they going to adapt to that change? Or are we just screwing over a bunch of people who just can't afford to do anything? So it's
So I think that like you're right. And I think a lot of I've heard that rents are falling. The thing is that I think rents are falling in buildings and in places that are owned by almost like corporations. So maybe individual landlords that maybe have $1 million house on High Park
yeah,
won't be able to lower their rent simply because their rent needs to cover their mortgage.
yeah,
So I don't know what's going to happen with those people that have chosen to, to make that big step of having a huge mortgage and hoping that someone else pays for it. Which I'm not going to stop you like that. That's fine with me. Like, do your hustle. Trust me, I'm fine with that. But that I do wonder how that's going to work out for some of those people.
yeah, me too. It's really interesting.
Yeah,
We're in a very interesting time right
yeah, for sure.
now.
Mm-hmm.
These topics, I want to say, are super important to talk to your council. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
Ontario, each area, each borough, each area has its own representative of the government
Mm-hmm.
that you can talk to. And
Right.
you know, express these things, and it's really important that we do that. And I grew up, I don't know about you, but being,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a little black girl, a big little black girl, growing up in East Toronto and Scarborough in low income housing, it was always taught to me that my voice didn't matter. It was
Mm-hmm.
like, what am I really gonna do? I ain't shit, you know. But that is so wrong, and we need to become more comfortable in expressing ourselves and talking about this, going to your counselors, or you know,
Absolutely.
wherever you are in the world and however it works, we need to express it. Write the email. We ain't got nothing but time anyway.
Yeah.
You know,
That.
sit down, write email. To be
Mm-hmm.
people be like, this is what's happening in our neighborhood. What's going to happen? What are the changes that are going to happen? Is anything going to be implemented? With that
Right.
said, the person that is not the head, but the counselor that you have, we vote it, right? And it's
Yep.
really important to vote. It's really important to do the research, and when those elections come up, to vote. The small elections and the big elections. We have a huge
Absolutely.
that's going to happen in America.
November? Is it November? Same place. Yeah.
And as much we're both not American, I mean, you're still in Toronto, I'm in Dublin,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
America, the United States of America is such a huge holds a huge weight in the world,
Absolutely.
culturally, financially, economically, and it's just so important for our neighbors and our friends and our loved ones to vote.
Vote. Get
So
the voices heard.
I'm sure there's only about 15 people listening to us and watching. But
Please vote. Please, God,
what
please.
if what if you are undecided? This is your sign. Just
Yeah.
vote.
Please.
Just vote.
Yeah.
Your voice does matter. So I wanted to kind of talk about
Absolutely.
that.
Yes. Please. Yeah. You're right.
The second wave of COVID.
Yo, people better start getting like whatever they need to get done, whether it's their eyebrows, because I need to do that, whether it's like getting your wax done, getting your hair done, like just get it done now because I have a feeling that like everything's just gonna shut down.
I was at the nail salon Thursday, so I'm like, I
Cool.
gotta get
Yeah.
the socks. Gotta get a new color on because I'm not gonna be able to do that again. Yeah, so it's super frustrating because like we knew it was coming. It's inevitable,
Mm-hmm.
but I think I don't. My impression of, and I, like I said, I can only speak to the two cities that I've been living in full time within the last year, in Toronto and in Dublin. I just think economically, the country just can't afford to shut down their capital cities anymore.
Mm-mm. We saw what happened last time.
It was really great that we were able to do that and kind of have COVID be manageable.
Right.
But now I just think economically it's just not going to happen. And personally,
Mm-hmm.
I think we should just shut everything down for a month. Everybody just goddamn listen. Just stay home. Don't have any parties. It sucks. I know. I'm not gonna say wasted, but I spent 1 month in quarantine doing this. So
Yeah.
but like let's just eliminate it or get it to the most manageable within that month and do it. But like that's not plausible.
No.
And so I think that I don't know how it's going to happen with the cases rising so much right now. I just and the holidays coming up. I don't know what that means for us individually. I don't know what it means for countries economically. I honestly think it's going to take the awful. This is just my opinion. I think this
Mm-hmm.
Swedish approach, and this has nothing to do with my scarred background with Sweden. The Swedish approach was just awful. They didn't shut anything down. It was kind of like every man for themselves. Let the
Wow.
like I am not about that, but I really feel like it's just going to get to that. They're just going to
Right.
close down what they can close down and just ask people politely to abide by the rules and wear a mask, and then that's it, because like we can't open and shut and open and shut. We can't.
Exactly.
But I mean, economically, I just feel like the cities, they can't. And
I'm curious, in Dublin right now, have you seen a lot of places for rent, like storefronts? Like, are there a lot of vacant storefronts?
yeah, yeah.
Dang.
One of the great things about, and one of the charming things about Ireland, um,
Mm-hmm.
is that it's very community based. So a lot of the
Mm.
restaurants, stores, all of these things are community run. They're mom and pop spots, and
Right.
a lot of these places are not surviving. I don't know
Mm.
how all of the pubs are going to the charming pubs and what I call the reading nooks and places where you can either get a coffee or a pint. I don't know how they're going to survive, really. It's very interesting because in Canada, I found that when things were getting shut down, it was very strict. It was very, we're shutting everything down. You have to stay home. It was very told to us, and we're like, okay, cool. Whereas here in Ireland, it's very suggestive. So it's like, so we're going into the stage to please wear a mask. Don't really leave the county. But like, if you want to leave the county, like, we're not going to stop you, but please don't. It's really interesting. It's like, I get it, and I see both sides, but I don't know. I don't know which tactic is working the best.
Right.
I don't know what's gonna happen. I think we just all need to do our best.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's a little complicated with like the whole, if we shut everything down, then the economy goes to shit. But then at the same time, I think, I think one of the things that touch me the most, not touch me, but like I worry about the most is people's mental health.
Absolutely.
So I know a lot of people have a hard time staying still, staying home. And I know it's the best for everyone, but I do wonder, especially when winter comes now, how people are going to cope. Because some people already get the winter blues. Like, this is a thing. Like,
absolutely,
most of the people I know get winter blues. And to have the winter blues and to be shut in, and then we don't know what everyone's situation is, right? We don't know what people's situations are like at home. So it is complicated. And again, when we talk about privileges again, it's like, okay, cool. So we're privileged to be in a safe space, but there are people that aren't.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's the scary part about this whole thing.
I don't have any answers.
I don't either.
I made a decision to come back here. I don't know if it's the right decision. Now going back into COVID times, going into. So we'll see. I really hope that we can make a very small sacrifice for the holidays, no matter if you celebrate or if you don't celebrate, so that we can have, that time together and, with your loved ones. I don't know. On that note, it was lovely seeing you.
Oh my gosh, it was lovely seeing you, little
cutie. Yeah, I'm so happy we're doing this. Thank you to everyone who is watching. If you're watching, thanks to everyone who's listening. I have the mic right here for anyone who's listening. We really appreciate you, and hopefully, I'm gonna try and change up the scenery. So I'm here.
I like it.
Right? I'm trying to stick to our shtick.
Yes.
And hopefully next time I can be outside. It's a little rainy today because it's Ireland and Dublin, but hopefully the next time I'll be outside.
I won't be.
No.
But I promise you that I will not be.
Next month we get to see your countryside house. So that's
that's true. That's true. So
thank you to everyone.
There might be boxes surrounding me, but you'll see it anyway. It's fine.
Thanks to everyone who has been listening and watching. And this is a refined voyage with Kaila and Michelle and Kaila. And, stay safe, healthy, and sane.
Yes, please do.
For sure.
Mwah. See you next time.
See you next
time.
Bye. If you'd like to listen to us chat, hit that like and subscribe button.